This video will show you how to create an on-account customer, which is commonly used for commercial accounts for monthly billing. We'll click New Sale and we'll search for our customer. We'll click Edit on his profile here. We'll go to the Billing tab and we'll select Enable On Account, which unlocks these Invoices and Payments tabs within their profile. We'll continue with the selected customer and we'll ring up an order for them. Let's say they're dropping off 50 pounds of laundry. When we get to the payment screen, you'll notice that there is now the On Account payment button, which can be used as the payment method for this order. We'll click On Account. There is a note for on-account orders that says be sure to get a signature on the receipt. That is because on-account orders have a signature line on those receipts. It's optional, but we found it to be very useful for commercial accounts. Let's create another order for this customer, and we'll place it on account as well. When I select his profile, I can see now that he has an account balance that's equal to what that last order was. Let's say he's dropping off a couple of comforters today. And then, again, we'll place it on account as the payment method. Now that we have a couple of orders for this customer that have been placed on account, let's build an invoice for them. I'm going to go to the Receive Payment page. This is where you'll go to receive payments for invoices. It's also a useful place to go to if you wanted to build those invoices. In fact, when I select this customer, I can see that they have one or more orders that have not been assigned to any invoice. So I'll click this View Customer Profile shortcut right down here, and I'll go to the Billing tab. I see that there are two unassigned orders down here. I could click on them one by one, or I could say Select All, and I can create an invoice out of these orders. So now I have this invoice that is payable by the customer. The individual orders were paid on account as their payment method, but the invoice is now what's payable. If I click on this invoice, I can actually see it in a new window that will pop up, and I could print this or I could save it as a PDF. If I did print it, if I had the customer's address information, then these windows would line up perfectly with the clear windows on commercial envelopes. If I receive payment from the customer, I would see the payments down below on this invoice. So if you collected payment first and then wanted to provide a receipt for that payment on an invoice, you could print off the invoice showing that there's no more balance due on it. Okay, going back to the Receive Payment page, I've built an invoice and now I can receive payment for it. I can choose the date of when the payment was received. I can choose the payment method. In this case, I'll be choosing a check. And I could put in a reference number such as the check number. Amount received. When I select the invoices that this payment applies to, and you can apply a payment to more than one invoice, then it will pop in the amount right up here. This does support partial payments, so if they sent you a check for not quite enough for the whole invoice that's due, then it will support that. It also supports if they overpayment. If they sent you a check for more than what is due, then it'll actually apply the overage as store credit to their profile. And you can use that store credit on future invoices. In this example, I'm just going to mark it as paid with the amount that's due, and I'll say Apply Payment. If I go back into their profile, I can now see that that invoice is no longer in the Open Invoices list, but is now in the Paid Invoices. And again, if I click on that invoice, I'll be able to see the payment down below. If I needed to void a payment on an invoice, I can actually come to the Payments tab, click on that payment, and then choose Void this payment. This is useful for corrections if you accidentally entered the wrong amount, for example. It does require a manager or administrator's password in order to void that payment, so attendants won't be able to edit or void those payments once they've been entered. If we go to the Reports page, there is a report that is called the Invoice List. And this is useful for checking to see if there are any open invoices that have not been paid for any given period of time. So, and again, you've got shortcuts right here to that invoice. You can just open it up directly from here. It's also useful if you wanted to select a particular customer and provide them kind of a statement for any period of time. So if you wanted to print that off, then you can actually send that to them, and it will show the totals that are owed.